Dun 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 dun. Hello, everybody. I'm back with my friend and co-host, Avi. It is October of 2023, and he recently, within the past month or so, finally got to see Mission Impossible 7 for himself. So we're going to give you guys a little content now of us going back and forth, discussing our thoughts and opinions and what we agree and disagree with in regards to Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, which I hope you all got to see in July of 2023 or August or September. So here we are. Welcome back, Avi. So what are your initial opening thoughts when it comes to Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1?
Even I thought sounds like a very expensive about Part 1. I thought this could be like a two-part finale for the end of the series.
Well, there were articles that came out to answer about that. There were articles that came out around the time of the release or before that of the movie where director Christopher McQuarrie has said that these are not the last pictures, that there will be more Mission Impossibles after these. So if director Christopher McQuarrie is correct on what he's stating, then these may not be the last ones. Maybe these are just like more in the franchise, but he plans to have more movies past these two, which I don't know whether that's true or false. I hope these aren't the last two. I hope it continues. But yeah, he had said that these Dead Reckoning Part 1 and Part 2s are not the last final ones, at least according to him in the article. So whether we believe him or not is a whole other story. Do you think these should be the end, or do you want more after these?
Well, it depends about his age, Tom Cruise aging time, about like how he doesn't want to own the stunt wheel.
Well, it's my personal opinion that I believe Tom Cruise could still do these stunts into his 80s and 90s. If he could do these movies into his 90s or 80s, I would love it, because he definitely has the drive to give the audience a good story and good stunts and everything in regards to that. So I don't think he's gonna do this forever, but sure, go ahead.
Besides, if you want to go to new locations around the world, besides going to Europe or Asia, why not he go to he did go to the Middle East, why not go to Israel?
Yeah, I say the same thing about the James Bond franchise. I don't think neither the James Bond franchise or Mission Impossible, I don't think either one of those have any intentions to have any of it in Israel. But would I like to see them in Israel? That would be great. I don't know if that would happen ever, but it would be interesting if they were in Israel.
He can't disguise himself like as a rabbi or something.
Yeah. I don't think either spy franchise will have either one in Israel, but it would be nice if they did. Let's just go over the first point at the top where in the email where you said you thought this movie was overlong. That I have to agree with. Of all the 7 Mission Impossible movies, up until that time, Fallout 2018, Fallout was the longest up until the new one, but this one is almost close to 3 hours, almost 3 hour mark, 2.5 hours. There was no reason this movie had to be as long as it was for everything they showed. But let's start with the opening. So the opening is my least favorite opening the whole series, when they have the whole Russian submarine. Yeah, the whole Russian submarine. I couldn't understand it. Supposedly the Russian submarine is going to be explained more in Part 2. I hope it is more explained in Part 2. But what did you think of the whole Russian submarine part?
Well, sometimes it's very it's not like you saw a submarine about they've been set up to be faked. They didn't know about artificial intelligence using them about firing at the wrong person.
Right. So it was used to fire out on them instead of others. So the AI tricked them into killing themselves like that.
But it reveals in the ending what's the main reason why does submarine disabled, and what's the secrets on board a ship at the ending, what they're after, what the team are after.
I hope I hope that whole thing is explained more in the Part 2, because I don't think they explained it enough for people to understand what that whole Russian submarine stuff was all about. So then after the Russian submarine, I forget whether the political talk was before or after showing Tom Cruise's Ethan Hunt talking to that guy to be his new person getting him the mission, which is this very quick thing with getting the mission from the young guy. But the whole political stuff was kind of like, what are they talking about? But then what was interesting was, because in the trailers, in the trailers they show the guy with the mask on his face and all the nerve gas going. I'm like, in the trailers, I'm like,
he has to be with Henry Journey.
Right, yeah. So when in the trailers, when I saw the nerve gas, I'm like, the bad guys are in a government facility, like killing everybody with the nerve gas. But then when we actually watched the scene, we're like,
Tom Cruise
right.
About the infantry, he was about to tell you I thought he was like on the run type. Why do he want to explode knock down his own government? So
you're right. So he was knocking everybody out there just so he could talk to that guy from the first movie, Henry. How do you say his name?
Henry Journey.
Right, so he knocked everybody else just to talk to him. He came as some other guy, and then he's like, and then the guy's like to him, how do you think you're going to get out of here? And he just, I'm going to be you. You're the second mask after that first person. I'll use you to just walk out. That was clever. That was clever, how he goes in and out as two different people.
Yeah. You know about the fake face about the Tom Cruise enter, we always know the suspicious looking about that we don't know who he is, but that's Tom Cruise.
Right. Yeah, you don't know until the scene happens for sure like that. Speaking of his crew in this one, I gotta say, I really thought they could have done more with Luther and Benji. While Luther and Benji do help Tom Cruise in this mission, they're kind of in these movies less than they were in the other movies. Like, Luther and Benji, while they're on screen, they're great helping Ethan Hunt out, but I thought that Luther and Benji were both not in the movie as much as they could have been. They weren't given much to do.
Right. And also sometimes I liked about the scene about the airport, about how they able to see those the sheer wing of those intelligence are after Ethan Hunt about. Even they tricked to use a camera to fake deep fake the faces of the wrong person. Yeah, that was the whole airport stuff was really done well. But then when Benji was in the one room by himself, it was kind of anticlimactic there when he found out that the device was not gonna. When the device wasn't going to hurt him, the device didn't end up killing him or anything. It actually was like a false alarm. It's actually it's just a false alarm. That's like a decoy.
Right, it was like a decoy false alarm. But then later on, when Tom Cruise is running around outside somewhere, this is where the AI pretends to be Benji, and that whole messes up things when it was a fake AI. The AI was pretending to be Benji, and that messed things up. Anything else you wanted to say about Luther and Benji before we move on to some other characters?
Well, Luther and Benji is very supportive, but even since after when they have before they go on to Orient Express, it's quite overlong about what's the meaning about the artificial intelligence and how they want to get into the key maker. Right. So it's extended about how to get the plan works. Yeah, it's a very a confusing plot about that whole thing, and I really hope that in part 2 the whole artificial intelligence stuff is explained a lot more. But since we're talking about the AI part, let me just say, so you said in the email that you actually like the main villain. For me, I found him more boring and dull. He didn't come off as very when he's on screen he's all right, but I thought so far nobody's topped Philip Seymour Hoffman as the best villain of the series, in my opinion. Anyway, for a lot of other people, Philip Seymour Hoffman as well. But he seems to fight well. He seems to have some kind of plan, knowing about how he's the physical presence of the AI somehow. But the movie was just overlong, a bit confusing. You mentioned about the airport stuff. Anything else you want to say about the airport scenes? Even he meets up with a new character named Haley Atwell about that says she doesn't know what she got involved in. Was she steal something? But who was a handler in? Right. So the problem I have with her is that she's throughout the majority, 99. The plot is like a whole Hitchcockian type. Yeah. Well, I think the Hitchcockian part, was trying to have the Hitchcockian part of it. I think was supposed to be a callback to the director of the first movie. Like the first movie.
Yeah, like the director of the first movie. Since there were so many callbacks, and how this movie was trying in some ways to be like the first movie. Maybe the Hitchcockian part was the whole direction of the first movie. They also wanted to be kind of somewhat Hitchcockian with how this one came out. But the problem I have with her character is through 99.5% of the movie, she's always trying to get away from Ethan Hunt when he's just trying to help her, and she keeps like messing him up throughout the entire time.
Like switch over with that, mostly about the lighter.
Yeah. Let me see. I'm trying to figure out, when we talk to people about this, that anybody that's watching and listening, should we, in this one, since we're not doing trivia, it's too recent, but thankfully we're doing that now in October, should we or should we not be doing any spoiler talk?
Not yet.
Okay, no spoilers. No.
All right, one spoiler about it's very surprising they killed off of Rebecca Ferguson.
Oh yeah, okay, so that's a big spoiler. So if anybody's watching this, we're assuming you've already seen this movie and seen it enough to know that that's what happens supposedly with her, even though she might be in flashbacks in part 2. But yeah, that was a very that was shocking when that that was shocking when that happened. But it was also, again, plot-wise, like when the main villain guy, Isai Morales, says that one of those two women have to die, I knew it wasn't going to be Haley Atwell's character, because she was just introduced to this movie, and you're not going to bring someone like Haley Atwell from Captain America and stuff just to be in one movie. That's how kind of given away that it was going to be the woman introduced in Rogue Nation to be the one that supposedly is killed off. That was very sad when she died, and then after she passed away like that in the middle of the movie, it's almost like Ethan Hunt was like totally forgot about it and was just like continue on with the mission as if she didn't just die like that.
Yeah, maybe she was about to so close to kill off the SMLS as like a revenge, but Luther told him to keep him alive. About that he's a very like.
Yeah, Luther says to Ethan, keep him alive. Just get the key, and keep him alive as part of how it all goes there. Yeah.
Well, why do you want to keep him alive until like the next point in the movie that he wants to stand trial?
Well, Ethan Hunt just wanted to kill the AI. The governments want to use it and implement it for their own means, but Ethan Hunt's the only one that actually just wants to kill the AI so that it doesn't get any further than it is. But the governments actually just want to just use it. So I guess that kind of explains that. But like I said, the whole Russian submarine stuff in the beginning, I never understood that or what that was all about, except that the AIs made them kill themselves like that. But like, I hope the Russian submarine stuff is more thoroughly explained in part 2. But like you said, this was overly long. There was no reason this had to be close to 3 hours, 2.5 hours. It is the longest one so far. When, like, I liked the car chase in after the airport. But again, like, she was always trying to do something to get away from him. And it wasn't until well late in the movie when she had to understand, like, no, you're in serious stuff and you got to listen to me now. And it was very sad. Yeah.
What?
No, I was gonna say, what did you think about when the girl from the first Rogue Nation, when she was killed off by him? What did you think? What did you make when she was just killed off in the middle like that? Whatchamacallit? Well, I forget her character name. Elsa Faust.
Elsa Faust.
Yeah. What did you make it like? Were you like surprised? Were you annoyed? How were you when she got killed off?
I was annoyed about it. They shouldn't kill her off even sometimes be part of part 2 about something. But you know what happens in my theory is she was not that killed. About what if it's something they did tell her if it's actually a fake or something.
That would be interesting. If she's still alive, according to the IMDb credits, she's still going to be in that one, but she was killed off. So if she is really killed off, if she's coming back in part 2, then it's probably just going to be in flashbacks. But like you said, hopefully maybe she's still alive. Speaking of which, about a character that still survived the end of the last movie, Solomon Lane. I was really annoyed and pissed off that he wasn't in this. I want to see him because he was still alive. He survived the end of Fallout. I want to know where he is and what he's up to in the Rogue Nation stuff. And then for other people, if they liked Jeremy Renner's character, they should have maybe also bring Jeremy Renner back in part 2, bring Solomon Lane, and bring back that Angela Bassett as the director there. It was nice that they brought back the first director from the first movie. And as far as the answer to your question, is he bad? It seems like he's more bad than good for the most part.
Yeah.
Is there anything? Sure, go ahead.
What I like about it, I think about the chase scene about it in Paris.
Yeah, that was a good chase scene. The chase scene with Paris was really well done. Were there any other bullet points in the email that we haven't gone over yet?
Well, sometimes bullet points.
Yeah, anything about your email you sent to me that we haven't yet covered yet?
Well, sometimes when I give a rating. So.
Oh, the rating will be at the end. But everything before the rating, have we covered most of?
There's two agents of our empty.
Oh yeah. That was silly because every time those agents went after Ethan, they never got close at all. Ethan was able to always keep it away from them getting too close, no matter what.
Evade them.
Right, except towards the end when they're on the train like that. But yeah. And I also thought during the train climax that it was really unrealistic that that director is supposed to believe that Haley Atwell is Vanessa Kirby, when clearly those are two different women talking to him in the scene like that. That was far-fetched, but maybe for some they could maybe see the Hitchcockian stuff about it. But the whole key stuff. It was so killing. The key, the AI. It was all very silly for the plot. Hopefully, all this AI and key and Russia submarine stuff is more explained in part 2. But I did like when he got on the bike and went off of the cliff, because in the trailer you don't really know what led up to that. But when you see the actual movie for the first time, the movie version of it, it's more building up to why he had to get on the bike, why he had to go off the cliff of the bike. It was more explained.
Time when the train arrived.
Right, exactly. Had to train it for the train, and it had to be the right timing of it. Yeah. I do think that in this movie, though, compared to any of the 6 before it, I thought he's really looking old at this point. He's in his early 60s. When you see him most of the movie, when you see his face he looks way too old for this stuff. I would love to see him be Ethan Hunt into his 80s and 90s, and this franchise never ends.
Like Harrison Ford type.
Well,
he's not like Harrison Ford character.
Well, with the Harrison Ford for the new one, they de-aged him in that first scene. But I don't think they de-aged Tom Cruise, though. Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt in this part 7, he looks old and worn out by his face. But yeah.
Yeah. Even if he doesn't do the no plastic surgery type of cosmetic, it make him look younger.
Right. Yeah, he looks kind of old with the almost cosmetic face. He almost looks like in this one. Yeah. So you were talking about the chase scene. What else did you like about the chase scene there? In Paris, wherever it was, lost track whether it's Italy or France.
The of the old beat up vehicle,
right? Oh, that little vehicle, yeah.
And they ends up and they crash into the subway.
And they each get to drive. Right, they each get to drive it. But then let's talk about the subway.
They're handcuffed together.
Yeah, and handcuffed together. But let's talk about that subway part you just mentioned. Once they make it to the submarine from being out. You have to look really carefully when it happens. But she makes it so that the stuff is attached to the car, which would have killed him when she did that. But somehow, because it's a movie and he gets out of everything, he was somehow able to get out of the car before the subway train could kill him. Okay, how the hell did he get out of that in time when he was totally locked to that? That's unbelievable part right there too as well.
It's like some kind of superhero type.
Yeah, it was like superhero to get out of that quick like that. That's really unbelievable how quickly you got out of that subway like that. Just to let you know, just how we're doing on runtime right now. In a few seconds, we're about to reach. In a few seconds right here, we're about to reach. We are now officially 19 minutes in. We're 19 minutes in. We're going to try to keep this at a half hour. So, what else do you think the audience and listeners should know about Dead Reckoning Part 1 that we haven't yet talked about?
The nightclub.
Okay, sure. That's in the middle. Sure. So let's talk about the nightclub. What did you make of the whole nightclub scene?
It's very visual. Even though it turns out the whole building is all controlled by artificial intelligence. The rhythm and the shape of it.
Right. So the thing about that is, if anybody's opening to watch us talk about this now, I used a clip of Ethan Hunt at the club as part of the thumbnail. So yeah, it's a thumbnail shot of him being at the in the actual club. But here's the part where I had the problem. When they were in the club and he was talking to everybody, why the main villain said one of these two women have to die? Like, did they really have to kill off Esau Fouts? No, I didn't think so. I think I'm with you. I'm hope she somehow survived and comes back in the second part. But if they really killed her off, then I think it's just her coming back in flashbacks because she's still listed to come back in part 2. So maybe, unfortunately, only flashbacks. But why? Like, I don't think he was the great villain. I thought he was kind of dull and monotone. But, like, to me, again, like I said, Philip Seymour Hoffman is the top one for most people, I would say. But, yeah, what else did you want to say inside the club?
About even they have, like, sometimes they had that where they made, there's another character would be to join in is Palma Clemente, the assassin.
Oh, because she's from, like, one of those Marvel movies. What did you make of her?
Well, even her name is actually is the same name as Leonard Nimoy character in the original series. It's named after.
What's the same name of them?
Paris.
Paris is her character name or her real life name?
It's a character. It's a character's
oh,
name.
Okay.
About even it's the same character's name as Leonard Nimoy, but he also plays a character called Paris by joining a team in the original series.
Star Trek, the original series?
Leonard Nimoy after Star Trek's canceled. He joined as the main cast in that Mission Impossible series.
Oh, the original Mission Impossible show?
Yeah.
He played a character called Paris?
Yeah.
Got it.
As a disguise. As
a disguise. Okay. Yeah, she was interesting because, like, she wasn't just, like, a bad hench person. Like, she also had her own little story arc towards the end now, too.
Yeah, it's almost like switch sides about how she's been spared.
Right. She was kind of switching sides, which the main villain knew she was going to do, which is why he tried to kill her. And, yeah. But as far as the actual director, I like that he was brought back from the first movie, and I'm assuming he's bad because he seemed bad in the first original movie.
That's about the keys.
Yeah, he does ask a lot about the keys, so I don't know. Well, I guess hopefully we'll find out in part 2 whether he's bad, good, or both. What's that? Say it again.
He wants to use the keys hidden away about not to get into wrong hands.
Yeah, I bet the whole hands thing though it's still unclear though in his hands whether he's actually good or bad about all that. What other? So let's see. We covered the opening with the Russian submarine. Then there was that political stuff. And then he's somehow, the guy gave him his mission, even the guy seemed unsure to give him the mission. I like how, in that part at the end of political, he comes in as the one guy, then comes out as the director, so he's going in and out in 2 different ways to cover himself. Then it plays the music, and then after the music, right after the music is that's where I believe the airplane. Then after the airplane, they do the chase. And then eventually the middle will be all about, like you said, the club. But like I said, it goes overly long at 3 hours, 2.5 hours. They should have cut like 20 or 25 minutes off. What any other parts about the movie or story or characters we haven't yet spoken about?
Tom Cruise rescue Elsa in the desert.
Okay, right. So it showed in the trailers that he was going to go try to get her in the desert, which was also somewhere in the beginning of the movie. And then she obviously survived that because they made it past the desert. But then it was like, wait, you're going to kill her off by this villain guy we barely heard about on side of a bridge? Like, but yeah, she was, the whole desert stuff with both Ethan Hunt and Essa Faust was both well done as well. That was shown in the trailer about the whole desert. I knew she was going to survive the desert because they do show her in the trailer also on that whole bridge. But I thought it was like we barely know this guy, and she just got killed off by him in their little sword fight. I'm like, okay, she better really still be.
Maybe the part to extend about the flashback, how that Tom Cruise knows about Asai Morales, about
Yeah, that's another thing. When they're showing him in some flashbacks, like, who are you? We didn't hear about you in any of the previous 6 movies. How are you suddenly this big history of Ethan's life when we never heard about you in parts 1 through 6 at all? Like, what is that all about? That's why I don't like him as much as, say, you did in your email. I'm like, they could have came out with a better physical villain. But, again, the whole AI stuff, again, where's this going? Like, why does the AI want to do whatever it's doing? Like, what's that all about?
Like it's not Skynet type.
No, like it's not Skynet. Are you supposed to be like a sci-fi Mission Impossible version of Skynet? Like, what is this?
Yeah, like James Bond goes to the sci. Like James Bond, in one of the James Bond films, it made it to like a science fiction, like the James Bond going to outer space.
Right, that was Moonraker. Yeah, that was Moonraker, and where the whole he goes up to space like that in 1979's Moonraker. But I want to speak real quick since you mentioned James Bond again, just to review for the audience. If from the beginning when you said earlier, I thought that was an interesting observation that you thought they should have parts of the missions happen in Israel, but neither franchise nor James Bond nor Mission Impossible James Bond's gone on 25 movies now. Very interesting. They've never gone to Israel in any of these movies.
Like, except that, there's a movie called World War Z with Brad Pitt.
Right. Oh yeah, I heard of that movie. Yeah.
It has zombie attack in Israel.
The Brad Pitt zombie movie actually partly takes place in Israel. Yeah, does it really show, like, was it really Israel? Was it, like, really Israel, or was it pretend Israel?
It is like Israel. It is like Israel. They have, like, the wall and they have, like, the alley.
I'm gonna look up that movie to see if it really was filmed in Israel at the end of this. Okay.
And also, at the beginning of World War Z, the beginning of the movie takes place in Philadelphia, where it is.
Oh, okay. I'm sure you're right about Philadelphia. I just want to check out the Israel part of that. We're officially 26 minutes in now, so before we get to your rating, is there anything else about the movie that you think the audience should know about?
Well, I don't think quite nothing much about the...
No, nothing much? Like, did you overall like this movie, or you just thought it was kind of okay?
Kind of okay.
Yeah, it was kind of okay. I thought this was a bit of a step down from Fallout. I think Fallout was the best one in 2018. Fallout was really well done. But I think this movie has too many questions. It's too long. They could have cut some stuff down and done some different things. I think that Luther and Benji are not in this enough. They're not given enough to do. And it may piss off a lot of people outside of myself of how they just killed off supposedly Esau Faust like that. It was just kind of all right. I really hope that things are more explained in part 2, whenever that comes out. So yeah, it was all right. But like, did we forget anything? Did we talk about most of the action sequences?
Well, the two actors from the Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning worked with Tom Cruise before in Top Gun Maverick.
Sure. What happened with the Top Gun Maverick part there?
There's one actor his name's Charles Parnell, the African American actor, was the one as the heads of U.S. intelligence agencies meeting before they've been knocked out Nerf gas. He works with Tom Cruise in the Top Gun Maverick.
It was a government agent, and that government scene was also played a character in Top Gun Maverick.
As Warlock, someone like who's in charge.
That's interesting. I didn't know he. That's interesting. I didn't know he was in both movies. That's it. Very interesting that he's in.
And also, there's another actor the character's name's Degas, as a U.S. intelligence agent and Briggs' partner, assigned to track down Ethan and his team. The actor's name is Greg Tarzan Davis. He was also in Top Gun Maverick.
Who did he play in Top Gun Maverick?
Coyote,
Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So both of those gentlemen were both in Top Gun Maverick. Yeah.
It's almost like a Tom Cruise production about all the.
So they were in both Maverick and the Mission Impossible. That's interesting. Yeah. As far as I think comparing both movies, Top Gun Maverick and Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, I would say that for most people I think are going to prefer Top Gun Maverick over Mission Impossible 7 just because. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning has its issues. And also, one more quick thing I want to mention to tell you about the government scene there in the beginning. I thought that when it was explained through all that exposition that it was like not realistic when it said it would go into all these different countries And included, if you watch that scene again, they include the guy in the one character in that scene talks about Israel as one of the countries. Israel would never let that, whatever that stuff is about the storyline, happen and go inside of Israel. So I thought, when you have to rewatch it to see what I'm talking about, but in that government scene, one of the guys talking there says that the AI would go into all these different countries and included Israel as one of those countries. And I just don't buy that Israel would let whatever this thing is into their own country like that. That's another thing I want to mention about Israel, since you mentioned Israel earlier on. Okay, now, would you watch this movie again? Because it's kind of just alright. I watched it twice for the theaters. Like, it was kind of just...
I saw the movie. Even sometimes the previous Mission Impossible movie, like the first time I saw Mission Impossible 3, it's very hard to understand what I was hearing. It's about to know what it's all about.
Did you only see Mission Impossible 3 once?
I see it once, but
I would recommend you rewatching Mission Impossible 3 because that one was pretty good. That was pretty well done for 3.
Too bad that the recent Mission Impossible 7 is not produced by J.J. Abrams.
Oh well, I think the movies can still be good even if J.J. Abrams is not a part of them. But thank you for letting me know about that. Leonard Nimoy played a character in the TV show Mission Impossible of something. I didn't know that fact till you told me that. I'm going to look up the thing about World War Z, though, to find out if that really was in Israel. We're officially 30 minutes in.
It's originally based on a novel by Max Brooks.
Which part was based on a novel? The World War Z part?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We're officially 30 minutes and a half in, so if you'd had to grade this movie for people, how would you grade or rate Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1? How would you grade this one? Yeah, I would give it. If it had to be a letter grade, I would give it a B. Also, I would give this like a B minus as far as a letter grade. What do you personally want to see in Part 2 that wasn't answered in Part 1?
Like the background, extended background about S.A. Morales, the flashback.
Yeah, more about him.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. Tell us more about what he's like.
Like about origin.
Yeah. More about Esai Morales' character for sure.
But if they're making more Mission Impossible film series, what if they could do a spin-off of Mission Impossible focusing on one character?
A spin-off would not be a bad idea. Maybe they will do a spin-off. But as far as the mainline series, it sounds like from the articles that the director, Christopher McQuarrie, says these are not the last ones. These will continue. Which I would love if they kept on going, but like Tom Cruise is not going to be doing these forever. So I hope there's more than just Part 1 and Part 2 of Dead Reckoning. I hope it goes on as long as it can, but better. It's Part 1. We didn't mention this when it came out in July, as far as this is all concerned. But like, Oppenheimer, Barbie took Mission Impossible totally out of the running by those two movies coming out.
If it's like Barbieheimer, I thought Barbie dolls would be melted away from the atomic explosion.
Right, exactly. That's a good point there.
Because that way you don't make atomic melt away once again, I still can't stop thinking about it. It's Raiders of the Lost Ark and thinking about that. It's like opening arc is like discovering atomic secrets. You know, that's how how the villains meet their gruesome death.
Right. Well, okay. I just thought that Oppenheimer, a 3-hour black and white R-rated movie, the fact that it did as well as it did was very surprising. But I guess that's because people like to see anything that Chris Nolan makes. I would probably also give it a B minus. I would give this. I would say this is only for like if people that are really fans of Mission Impossible, because if they're not a Mission Impossible fan, you might be bored by how long and how a lot of it doesn't make sense. Really, I would say it's definitely a step down from Fallout. Fallout's still my favorite. Anything else other than the Esai Morales character? What else do you want to see in Part 2 to be talked about more?
I want to talk to me about more about bringing back a whole character together, like Jeremy Renner and. Like you said, bringing back from a previous movie about like Angela Bassett and or sometimes what about there's another IMF the chief, besides Henry Czerny, except Alec Baldwin since he was killed off.
Well, yeah, Alec Baldwin was killed off, but who did you want outside of Jeremy Renner and the other people?
Lawrence Fishburne.
That would be a great idea. Bring Lawrence Fishburne back from the third movie. Yeah.
How many actors could play the IMF chief? About there's one person after another.
Well, what I think what happened was is that originally for Dead Reckoning Part 1, Tom Cruise and the director wanted to bring back Angela Bassett, but because she had scheduling conflicts, she couldn't come back. So they thought, well, why don't we bring that guy back from the first movie? So yeah, if they're going to bring back the guy from the first movie, that would be cool if they brought back Angela Bassett and Lawrence Fishburne in like a further installment, for sure, yeah. And explain more about the main villain's character, bring some more people back. Some people still want to see Jeremy Renner back in some way, since he was kind of removed from Part 6, Fallout. So we're 34 minutes in, so what are your, and we could always talk about trivia some other way somehow, but this is without trivia talking about this movie together. What are your final thoughts and opinions about Mission Impossible 7?
Final thoughts and opinions
Yeah,
about,
final thoughts about this movie.
Don't be like over impatient. This movie's over long. Just think about like go for the plot about to figure out what's all connected of this plot of the movie, and then give it exactly time after.
I can understand, like, with it being over long, like, that whole stuff with the key, they did the key this, she always got away from him and did that thing with her thing. I'm like, it was drawn out on so many ways, on so many beats, so I can see why it could annoy people with how long everything and drawn out is. It's like, it did not need to be, like you said, it did not need to be as long as it came out to be, but hopefully a lot more is explained in Part 2 hopefully that comes out in 2024. As far as other movies are concerned, I'd like to see you back in November to talk about Home Alone 2 Lost in New York and then Home Alone 1.
Alright.
Alright.
What about Face Off?
Oh, we could do Face Off next after Mission Impossible. I have the thumbnail ready for Face Off.
Right.
I got the thumbnail started for Face Off. So how about we do Face Off next after Mission Impossible 7? Wait, Face Off, because you said Face Off over Speed?
No, but Speed and whatever, because it's just we just do a schedule about like.
I'm just saying, should I keep the thumbnail ready for Speed, or are we just doing Face Off?
Do Speed, yeah.
All right, I'll keep them both up. We just got to figure out which one we're doing first in which order.
Okay.
All right, so this is all our deep discussion so far about Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, and then in the next ones we'll be covering the 2 action pictures, either Face Off then Speed or Speed then Face Off, where that can actually have trivia in it, if any trivia you want to mention. But I'm glad that we didn't have too much main trivia in this one. You just had the things about Star Trek and Israel and other things that were neat to put in there. So I hope you guys all like this, and we'll see you in those 90 action pictures next. Thanks for coming on, Avi. Thanks for coming on today.
Yeah, it's been a long time with this, the holidays, but we'll still keep praying for my dad's health.
Yes, I will. We will keep him on the Misha Barak list.
Well, they came to a hospital on Sukkot. They gave him a little of esrog to shake, and on Rosh Hashanah they blow a shofar for him when he missed.
Oh, that's nice that they did that. They did that for him. Yeah, and the lulav and etrog was the whole thing now too. Yeah. So hopefully we have him on the list. Hopefully he'll feel better soon. And yeah. So thanks for coming on to tell everybody your thoughts and opinions about Mission Impossible 7, and we'll do one of the two. We'll do the 290 pictures next.
Okay.
All right, cool. Thanks for coming on. We'll see you next time.
Well, see you around. Good Yom Tov.
Thank you. Good Yom Tov. Everybody, that was our thoughts and opinions together in a discussion about Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning from the summertime. If you all enjoyed this, don't forget to support your local movie theaters throughout the decade of the 2030s to see a big theatrical experience, visual and sound, with a bunch of communal strangers like no other, because we've got to keep the movie theaters in business, or else forever, next decade or two will be streaming only, and streaming is just not the same. And get physical media and go theatrical to movies, no doubt. This has been friend and co-host Avi and Millennial Man Motions Entertainment, LLC. Hold on a sec. Everybody dance and have a good time. There we go. Friend and co-host, Millennial Man Avi and Millennial Man Motions Entertainment, LLC, signing out to the 90s action pictures. Dun 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 dun.